Okay, 6 o'clock, we're gonna call the meeting to order of the Charter Township of Bedford Planning Commission, and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Roll call when you're ready, please.
Okay, Chairman Tsai,
Here.
Trustee McKay,
Here.
Commissioner Artis,
Here.
Commissioner Billotson.
Here.
Commissioner Tuggle is absent. Commissioner Jones. Here. Commissioner Brown's here. 6 members present, quorum established.
All right, thank you. Let that absence report show that Shirley did reach out and let us know that she wasn't gonna be here. Next item is gonna be approval of the May 19th, 2026 agenda. Do I have a motion?
Almost.
Support.
Barb,
Yeah.
Kevin.
Claudia or Barb?
Let's go Barb.
Let's go, Barb.
Barb and Kev. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Billotson.
Here.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Artis.
Yeah.
Trustee McKay.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown, yes. Chairman Tsai.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
6. Yes, motion carried.
All right, thank you. Next item is going to be approval of the April 28th, 2026 meeting minutes. Do I have a motion?
I motion.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Any discussion on those meeting minutes?
Very thorough.
Claudia is doing a great job.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Seeing no discussion, roll call on that, please.
Okay, Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown, yes. Chairman Tsai.
Yes.
Commissioner Billotson.
Yes.
Commissioner Artis.
Yeah.
And Trustee McKay.
Yes.
All right. 6 yes, motion carries.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Brown, for that.
Absolutely.
All right, next item is going to be building and zoning report from Cody. Hasn't been that long since we were all together. Is there anything that is pertinent, I guess?
No, an update that's been long due, demo scheduled for the next 2 weeks. I've been saying demo scheduled for the fire station, but it's finally happening. Towers included. We're hard in the RFP right now, answering questions. We got it to 6 companies we sent it directly to, and then it's gonna be in the papers this week. And then, I got a very preliminary site plan for that potential PUD where Hello Farms had their marijuana grow operation. They sent that to me this afternoon.
Okay.
147 lots, parcels.
Okay.
All, not medium residential, that's the old one, neighborhood residential.
Okay.
Some bigger, but most of them 1/4 acre. And yeah, hoping to have a sit down with that architect next week or the week after and discuss anything else.
Okay. Are they zoned correctly over there? Or are they gonna have to do a rezone to do the PUD?
So on the site plan, they mentioned that it's agricultural. They were going off what GIS still says.
Yep.
So they said, we need to be rezoned to medium residential, but future land use has that as the neighborhood residential.
Does it's included in that? Okay. All right. They give you any kind of a timeline on? Okay. Very early then.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's exciting. Barb, have we done a PUD here at the township?
Not.
I'm trying to remember.
Not in the last, I've been on the board.
Right.
These
If
7 years.
we did, it was a long time ago. I don't
Okay.
remember.
All right. Well, how exciting. We'll all get to learn something new together.
We've never done it. It's
Yeah.
always been somebody else that did.
Yeah, that's at the old, one of the
Right
outside roads.
down.
Hubbard and
What was
Morgan,
her
yep.
name out there.
Okay.
Wonderful. Anything else, Cody?
Sally.
Nope, that's pretty much.
Sally Shaw.
Sally Shaw.
Yeah, she did. it.
Okay.
Did you hear me? I think Sally Shaw did it.
Okay, good one.
Wow.
Long time.
That's a long time ago.
Mhm.
Next item on the agenda is our liaison report from trustee McKay.
Well, Mr. Mike was present for what I have to discuss, but basically I bounced the ideas of a couple new ordinances off the board. One is in regards to the ability for the township to have moratoriums. And there was general agreement that they would like the planning commission to proceed on that. And I think we need to have more discussion, but they may want to apply it to a specific situation coming up. But I'm not as comfortable with saying, start that now.
Sure.
Let's get the moratorium language and ordinance done.
Okay. Seth, if you could just, that was definitely confusing for everybody.
I know.
Even at the planning commission level last month, we were a little surprised to hear about that in that sense, because we'd always kind of erred on the side of not doing the moratoriums. We
Right.
discussed one for solar and we decided not to because we
Right.
were out far enough in front of that. And I think the intent for the PC is to do the same thing with the data centers. Specifically, that's kind of what, for those who haven't had a chance to watch the board meeting, that's kind of what the narrative was. It was about data centers, but it wasn't. But Seth, if you could just elaborate on there are two different types of moratorium. You have what they call a use moratorium and then a general moratorium. And if you just want to kind of quickly, or take your time, just explain to the PC what that is and I guess what that means for as ramifications, one over the other as far as what say we do or don't have.
Yeah, no, for sure. So first, if I caused some confusion last month, I'm sorry about that. That wasn't the intent, but okay. So just with moratoriums, you see them a lot more now than when we used to, and most of it is tied to data centers because it's a new use. Like in the past, maybe few years, sometimes you see them with solar or battery, but a lot of townships have those ordinances in place at this point, or they don't have them at all and they don't want one. That's kind of where it is for solar and battery. Okay. Data centers is a little different. It's not part of state preemption, so it would it'd be locally permitted if it's going to be allowed at all. As it stands, if something's not listed as a permitted or special land use in a zoning district classification, then it's not allowed. Okay, so right now data centers, pretty much like anywhere you go, they're not a specified permitted or special land use, so it's not allowed. So that's where a lot of townships now are at least looking at whether or not they feel moratorium is needed. Specifically to Bedford, if you're asking me whether I think there's going to be a data center coming in, I haven't heard of anything specific with Bedford.
Okay.
I have heard it with other areas though.
Mhm.
Okay. There's also a lot of solar and battery in Calhoun County. So I don't know if that means, or I guess I should say I wouldn't be surprised if at some point you hear about a data center somewhere in the county. It doesn't necessarily mean, here, but just somewhere generally. So what some townships have been doing is looking at considering whether or not they want a moratorium. And a moratorium essentially is a timeout on a certain use. So what that means is, well, with data centers, it's a new use. We all don't really know a whole heck of a lot about them because although maybe data centers exist elsewhere in the country, they're not here in Michigan yet, as far as at least large ones. I think there's one in Dodge yet. Beyond that, I'm not sure of too many that are already up and running. I know one got permitted over in Saline, and I think that was a court after that. But in any event, so the whole purpose of a moratorium is to allow a township planning commission some time to review a use, try to learn more about it, and figure out how if at all it's going to be compatible with your municipality, with your township. So it also protects us better against exclusionary zoning. That's more of why you see data centers in place, or moratoriums in place. With exclusionary zoning, it's twofold. One is, like I said, if something's not permitted by right or by special land use, then it's not allowed. So if a developer comes in and wants to do, in this case, a data center, right? Well, it's not allowed right now. Right. So if the developer can show, well, it's a demonstrated need and you exclude it, then that's called exclusionary zoning and you can get sued on that. Right. Okay.
Yeah, and one of the issues with this too is there's, I think, a recent executive order from the White House that talked about having minimal restrictions for data centers to be a leader in AI. So, a little bit, I think there was this, you hear from some developers that are like, okay, well, look, there's already an executive order that established a demonstrated need, and now township, you don't allow it in your township. So are we looking at exclusionary zoning? That's sort of part of the basis of where this is coming from. And that's why you see some townships doing moratoriums. They're for a period of time. So like a lot of times you'll see them for 6 months or a year, something like that. But they could be extended as well. Thing with moratoriums is you actually have to, you have to research. You can't use it as a block. In other words, I can't put a moratorium in place and just not do anything. Okay, even if it's an unpopular use, right? I still need to do my legwork and go through the process of studying it, reviewing it, making recommendations to the board. And those recommendations could be, there's no state preemption, right? So there could be all sorts of recommendations that a township could make on that. I know our office is writing a data center ordinance right now. I don't know if it's going to be sent to MTA or not, but I know we're working on one anyway because we're expecting that a lot of townships at some point might be looking for to look at a data center ordinance specifically. I mean, there's so many townships right now doing moratorium, so that'd be part of the next step at least. So a couple different ways to do a moratorium. First, there's two separate ordinances, and I know this causes a lot of confusion. Okay, you have a zoning ordinance amendment, which starts here, goes to the planning commission, public hearing, and then up to the board. And then you get a second non-zoning ordinance. Okay, so there's two ordinances, zoning and non-zoning. You need both. If you don't do both and you get sued, you're gonna lose. Okay, I've had that happen to a township. Okay, we told them to do both. The board did one, the PC didn't for whatever reason, and we got sued. Year-long litigation, and we ended on the wrong side of that one. Okay, it was for development too. So we got to make sure that we do it properly. As far as I know, there's different ways to do moratoriums. Sometimes they're use specific. In other words, a very specific moratorium, for data centers. Okay, that would be something specific. I've seen them, well, not yet, but I've seen like if hydrogen comes, things like that, that would be like something specific. So you could do a specific use. You could do what's called general as a zoning ordinance amendment. What that means is a general moratorium zoning ordinance amendment. Just it authorizes the board to basically implement a moratorium, so you could when it's necessary. Okay, so what that means is if you did one now, for example, and it was general, you have the authority for the board to do a moratorium. Okay, and because it's general now, the board could okay, it's going to be a data center, so they could do it at the board level to specify that it's a data center, or if it's a different type of use, they could specify at the board level for a different type of use. So
they would be the ones specifying that at that point, right?
Yeah, because
it's already in the zoning ordinance,
Yeah.
so the PC would not have to amend again.
Right, and that's why sometimes you see it in zoning ordinance amendments. So there's not a different zoning amendments every single time. On the other hand, sometimes I see specific moratorium amendments for specific uses to keep it more organized. However you'd like to do it, you can talk about that, whatever you think. But that's the general process for it. There's specific language that we use, and I think, like I said, we've done a bunch of these, so I feel pretty good about where we're at and how they're structured. For both zoning and non-zoning. What I mean by that is to provide the township the best protection. If there's a claim against you, I think we'll be well presented. So.
Is that something, Seth, that you have both examples of that we could maybe take a look at and then?
Oh yeah.
Then have some further discussion, Gene? I mean, is that what, we'll, I guess, start that here at the PC level and, so you will keep the board in the loop and whatnot? Is that kind of what your thoughts are?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that something that we're going to try and do on this round of text amendment, or?
I think there's a high level of interest in getting the
getting it done.
moratorium,
Okay, so
perhaps a general moratorium in
Okay.
as soon as possible.
Okay. All right. I definitely think that we should take a look at both types and specifically kind of go over
I
what that
agree.
means
I
for
agree,
the
absolutely.
PC. My understanding, Seth, and correct me if I'm wrong, is if we were to just go with the general language, then, anytime the board just can do a moratorium for specific use or just in general, and that's just going to be done via board resolution. And then we're essentially put on the clock as the PC to, investigate and do all the legwork that's required for a moratorium. And I-
Right, so, yeah, right. So,
Okay.
Because the board, I mean, I have to look at your zoning ordinance, but most zoning ordinances, authorize a PC zoning ordinance amendment by either PC does it on its own, an applicant files, for a zoning ordinance amendment, or the board directs, like I see all three, so. Yeah, I mean, if the board wanted, if it was a general resolution, and the board at some point wanted, hey, we need a moratorium on, whatever use, they could direct the PC to start that process of going through to do its research.
And just for clarification, then we'll wrap this portion up. Like there are specific things that we will have to do in a moratorium situation. Like it is, I'm assuming that it's pretty detailed in nature, like the process that you need to acquire what information to formulate, basically, for lack of a better term, a finding of fact for what our recommendation is, correct?
Yeah, and
Okay.
too, just thinking through it more here in my head right now, like when you do moratoriums, it is going to be spec specific, to an extent. So let me just take a look at some of the,
Okay.
the data center specific, like, I've got many examples of that, and even the general too, but I just want to
Okay.
make sure that the language is tied up in such a way that it's specific enough where, again, you're well defended if it ever gets challenged.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions about that? Thank you for explaining that in a little more detail today.
Yeah, it's a
And
confusing process.
we'll absolutely discuss it, for further. But anybody have any other specific questions right now on that? We'll get Seth to provide us, a couple different, what their firm is using as far as language, and then, specifically lay out, I guess, the ramifications of both, and we'll kind of go from there.
Generally last longer than a year.
I guess it really depends on the use, right? Like for data centers, because we're writing an ordinance right now, I think that helps, because like if we had a starting point instead of, just from scratch, I think that could, maybe help a little bit more. Now, I know Richland, for example, they had a moratorium in place for 2 years while they developed the solar ordinance. So, here we are over there, so yeah, I mean, they can go, it can take some time, but again, I think when Richland at least started that solar, that was like really at maybe, it was a few years ago, so maybe there was a little bit less more information, and, we'll get there with the data center ordinance, we're just not there yet.
Well, and I think too, one of the biggest things is the communication to the residents at both the PC level and the board level. Moratorium does not mean no.
Right, it's that,
And I would assume, Seth, and just real quickly, if you were to try and, say, well, we don't think that this use is appropriate for Bedford, that is a very lengthy and I would assume difficult process to go through. You have to back that up with fact, basically a finding of fact, just like we would anything else.
Right.
I would say not just specific data centers, with anything.
Correct. I mean, generally.
Really, really specific.
Okay.
Like I imagine there's places that, certain uses aren't going to be appropriate, right, for whatever reason.
Sure.
But, with data centers right now, like I said, like you just got to get more into it and figure out, what makes sense for your township.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you, Seth, for explaining that. Anything else, Trustee McKay?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Next item on the agenda is going to be public comment time. This is on agenda items only. We'll open that up at 6:22. And seeing none, we'll close that at 6:22. All right, next item on the agenda is discussion of our new business. One, two, three, four things for new business tonight. It's going to be the request of APC Towers, the applicant, represented by Ark Haven, 23133 Woodward Ave, number 426 in Ferndale, Michigan, 48220 for special land use and site plan approval for a wireless telecommunications on property address 20340 Hubbard Road, Battle Creek, Michigan, 49017. Parcel number 04-024-027-01, the subject property. Standards of review for wireless telecommunications are located in section 4.55 of the Township zoning ordinance. Special land use standards of review are contained in section 1304. Standards of review for site plans are contained in section 1303. The subject property is located in the Township's neighborhood residential district zoning classification. Is approximately 6.27 acres in size. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll motion.
All right, thank you. All right, I assume the applicant is here? Okay, okay, both of you, perfect. What we generally do is we will slide that podium out from behind Tony there. What's that? We could like feel this one right here. Yeah. Give you an opportunity just to go through any specifics that you want to share as far as in relation to the public. We will then have public comment from anyone that is here for that specifically, and then we will get into discussion. So we'll bring you back up and we'll have a list of questions. So this first opportunity is just if you had anything that you wanted to share before we got into discussion about specifics, just for the general public knowledge. You do not have to share anything if you don't want to. We just
We have someone from the public here. Go ahead.
right, yeah, correct, yes.
So my name is Leland Calloway. I'm from Ark Haven. I'm the one who made the application on behalf of APC. And I'm also the one that did the initial search for the tower and helped site it and negotiated the agreement with the landlord. In doing that, what we get from Verizon is we get a specific area where they say, we need service in this area. We don't have towers. Or sometimes there are towers there. So that's the first thing that we do is they give us an area of need. We go and look and see if there's an existing tower that we can co-locate on. And in the absence of an existing tower, then we go and look for a Raleigh candidate. Here we found a Raleigh candidate that was willing to have a tower on their property. And then I go about trying to site it. And if you look at so what we're asking for is a 195-foot tower here with a 5-foot lightning rod. No lighting will be on the tower in nighttime or even during the day. It's within a 100 by 100 fenced in compound or area. With a 12-foot access road and a 30-foot easement to the property. When I sited it, I do look around the area and try to figure out, if it has to be here, where can I site it in the best possible area for people who live here, and trying to fit within the parameters of the zoning ordinance. And so if you look at the way that the tower is sited, it's sited in the woods, in a wooded area. There's already kind of an existing access road there. So it's kind of shielded from a lot of the homes that are in the area. And to the north is a high tension electric field, which is kind of a industrial use where no one would really be living there, and probably not be developing in that area. So looking at that, I figured this would be the best possible area for what Verizon's needs are, to site a tower in this area, in this specific location. In addition, a lot of the thinking is that if Verizon is looking for a new tower and a service in the area, that their competitors do too. And that's why APC comes in, and that's why they would want to site the tower here, is because if Verizon is going to be on the tower, you can think that AT&T and T-Mobile and somebody else is going to want to site in the same area so that they can compete for customers just like Verizon does. So I don't know if you want me to go through the review. Want to kind of wait.
So you do not have to, and actually I would probably recommend waiting until we're into discussion, because that will be the basis of our questions for you will be that review. So we're just looking for a general overlay of what you guys were doing and kind of your process of how you chose that site. So that was one of the questions. You've already answered it. So
All right. And I do want to point out that there are no other towers in the area, and that the closest Verizon tower is, I think, 1.98 miles away. And if you look at the propagation map and the location of the tower, it's almost like perfectly sited between Verizon's other sites. The other thing I want to point out is coverage is one thing and capacity is another. So this would be a coverage and a capacity site. If you look at those other towers, they're kind of in more dense areas, which means that they're probably getting a lot of traffic. And so this tower would do two things. It would add more coverage to the area, but it would also help with some of the traffic from those other towers that are already in the area, so people get less drop calls and things of that sort.
okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Did you have anything to add, sir?
Oh, no, Dan Crane from JRC on behalf of ABC Towers. No, I think Leland did a fantastic job. I look forward to all your comments. I just want to check and make sure we did our best to respond to. Did you receive?
Yes, we did receive that. That was enclosed in all the members' packets.
Just to be clear, if there's anything in there that maybe we gave the same answer on, or maybe we didn't give a direct answer, it's not because we have an issue with the question or we're unwilling to provide more information. It's simply, we were not sure. We just either didn't know what was being asked, or we were not sure whether our prior answer was.
No problem. We'll help to give some direction.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you. At this time, we'll go ahead and open this public hearing up for the public comment. This is on the application that we have in front of us right now only. We'll open that public comment up at 6:29. Seeing no public comment on this application, we'll close it at 6:30. Okay, next part of our public hearing will be our discussion amongst ourselves with the applicant and any questions that we may or may not have. Does everybody have a copy of the updated McKenna response dated May 15th, 2026?
Yes.
Okay. So this is going to look very similar to the one that was sent out in the beginning of last week in your packets that was dated May 4th. What they did there is anything that they responded to, and I guess also, does everyone have the response that was submitted in time to go in your packets dated May 13th, 2026 from the applicant there from Crane PC? So, yeah. So I would encourage everyone to have those two documents kind of right in front of them. Do you guys, I had our zoning administrator give you a copy of the updated?
We do. I apologize. I thought it was the same one.
Okay.
I just put it in.
Okay, no problem. That all came in after the deadline. So you do have a copy of that? Okay, all right. And then I assume you guys have a copy of your response as well. Okay, perfect. All right. That way we're all looking at the same thing. That'll help us go a lot smoother. What I think we'll do here, guys, is we will go through the report first. Any questions? We're just going to go through it in numerical order here. I've got everything, I guess, flagged that we need to ask them per McKenna's request, and then also some stuff that we need some more detail on. As we're going through this, if you have something flagged that I do not, please feel free to interrupt me, and we'll get that question out in the order as we're going through this, so that the applicant is on the same page that we are.
Okay.
And then after we get through the report, if there's any general questions that we didn't cover, we'll go around the table and we'll have that opportunity, just as we always do.
Okay.
Is that okay with everybody? Okay, perfect. violated my own rule already. I moved my stuff around. Okay, here we go. Good Lord. Okay, going through the report here, guys. McKenna has broke that down into 3 different sections. They have the site plan review and the requirements that are needed for that and their findings. And then they have the standards for site plan approval. It's going to be page 5, number 4. The emergency vehicle access. I heard you mention that it is a 12-foot access road.
Yes.
Okay. We have our zoning administrator is a member of the fire department. So one of the things that we'll get to later on was the willingness to have the applicant have the fire chief come out and just make sure that, you know, everything was copacetic. They did not have a problem with that. But 12 feet doesn't seem wide enough to get the trucks down there.
We might hit some mirrors.
Okay.
Generally we tell people, especially like new driveways, 12, 14 foot.
Okay.
We can make 12 work. Scratch up the mirrors and stuff like that. 14 foot's a little more ideal. But yeah, 12 to 14 foot would be what we recommend minimum.
Okay.
Can I mention something about that?
Yes,
So
sir.
Is the 12 feet for, you said scratch up the mirror, so is that the idea that there's gonna be branches and things on the side? So they're gonna clear back the branches 10 feet beyond, so we have a 30-foot wide.
Yep.
easement.
Okay.
No issue at all.
Within that 30-foot easement,
12 foot
of 12-foot road, but
Okay.
they're gonna trim back all of those limbs and because they have to bring big equipment, big trucks in there, they don't want this.
Perfect.
Okay.
Not an issue though.
All right.
Our equipment's big too.
I didn't even think about that, honestly.
All right. So when we get to discussing the site plan, we'll want to definitely discuss a way to either notate that on that site plan or have that as a condition of possible approval when we get that far. So number 4, all the way down at the bottom, the May 15th response there that Kyle has for us. The planning commission should determine if this is acceptable or if review the comments by the fire authority and should be presented prior to rendering a decision on the site plan and special use application. So that is something that we can either address via condition or, much like we did with consumers where, the applicant has to allow for our emergency services to come out and take a look. I think the easiest way to do it is to have them notated in the site plan and then also attach that as a condition. But that was the first thing that McKenna had kind of flagged in the sense that they wanted to make sure that the fire department had the ability to do that. Looking up there from the next paragraph up, applicant should provide clarification as to whether or not Mr. Gary Edwards has the full authority to permit a connection to this drive as the drive services more than just his property. So Cody, we had Cody look into the easement agreement. You guys have the easement agreement in your packets. That is fine and looks good. So when you talk about finding a parcel that works. You guys have done a land division here to where that has its own parcel number now, correct? Or no?
You're talking about the tower one?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, just for personal property taxes, so that your assessor can assess the tower separately from the landowner.
Then the landowner. Okay.
Just to clarify, we are not doing a land division split.
Okay.
A lot of times assessors, I believe your township does. They historically, when we do our personal property tax filings, they assign a parcel number to the personal property.
Okay. Okay. The only reason I bring that up and why Kyle had brought that up is that at some point in here, there were 2 addresses for Hubbard listed. And we had a question as to whether or not.
I can explain that. So
okay.
In order for us so APC was trying to get their ducks in a row for construction. And one of our long lead times is setting up utility.
Okay.
Delivery of utility. They will not start that process
unless you have an address. Okay.
So
all
we
right.
applied for an address through the county, so that's why you saw that.
Okay.
Hoping that we would get approved to you. But we
Got it.
had to do it.
Got it. Okay. no problem. So that straightens out that confusion there. Moving on over to page number 6. Talking about the easement itself. The assessor basically, and Cody, if you want to go ahead and, because I know you talked to her about there was a question as, so if you look at their site plan, Hubbard Road kind of ends there, and then this access drive, there's actually four houses down there?
I believe so.
Okay.
Multiple other parcels that are owned by different people that haven't built yet.
Okay.
But I think 4 or 5 existing currently.
4 or 5 existing, and then a few possible options for later on.
And there is another entrance off Hubbard to that. It's a loop.
Is there?
Yep, so more south, kind of across from,
Where's that at?
is it Northwood, I believe?
Okay.
Um,
Do those folks
yeah,
primarily,
down this way.
do they primarily use the service road that is the easement been given to, do we know, or?
I think the majority of houses are closer to the southern entrance.
Okay,
I know the property owner, Mr. Edwards, since it's a private road, he plows it all for them.
does he?
So I've seen him out there, and we've been out there on falls, doing that for him, so.
Okay. And is that a gravel driveway out there?
The one that's there now.
Yes.
Is dirt.
Just dirt, okay. All right. Okay. Sorry, Cody. So if you want to just go ahead and kind of fill the commission in on what the assessor, the question was, did the owner have the right to give an easement to the tower company, given the fact that that's a shared driveway?
Yep, so she sent me, she looked through all the deeds of all the properties that existed back there. She sent me, each parcel owner owns the easement on their land. The easement owner has a non-possessory legal right to use for a specific purpose, in this case a road or driveway. Each of the easements involved are non-exclusive, meaning that they are not private to one entity. The parcel owner owns the land, but several entities have been given rights to use the easement. So I clarified that with her a bit more, and I asked, so if you own a parcel connected to that easement and if you had the property that you could build 6 barns and each had their own driveway, you could do that without, any sort of issues. And she said, yeah, absolutely. If you own that land, you have the permission to connect to that easement however you
For any
see
use.
fit. You just cannot block that easement,
Okay.
obviously.
Okay. All right. So that concern that McKenna has had there on that is question asked and answered, and you obviously all have a copy of the easement agreement that has already been executed with the applicant. Moving on over here to page 7. Regarding the screening, and the site plan. So the response to McKenna, from them was that that's going to be surrounded by dense vegetation, and they're only going to clear as much as they need to. I think for the planning commission to make determination on whether or not we would like you to add additional landscaping there, as far as, around your fenced in area, to screen from the other residential uses. I think we would request if we could get some renderings of what you think the project is going to look like as far as the tree, the landscaping that's going to be existing around the project. After you've cleared, you enclosed renderings of the tower from 4 different angles, but no renderings of the actual landscaping itself.
So the planning commission is leaning towards wanting landscaping around the compound if it's going to be visible from other
Correct.
people.
Yes.
Can I propose that we just go ahead and make that a condition of the approval, that we will provide like a landscaping plan as a condition of the approval, but that, maybe we write in something about whether it's like after the site is built, whether it needs to be planted.
So
I don't know that we can provide you a rendering that's going to give you a full and accurate picture of what it's going to look like, because the trees are all
Currently
there.
tree.
Yeah.
okay.
It's
Um,
like looking down a wooded
Mhm.
street and just trying
Yeah.
to create a clearing or something. So I understand the concern. I guess I would just ask that maybe
The whole-
Cody can come out and make the decision about, okay, this is visible.
well, the zoning administrator does not make any decisions as far as what's approved and what's not approved.
No, I mean, I guess it's part of the condition. So if you make it conditional,
Right, correct, and he won't do that either.
okay.
Like, it's at the planning commission level, so that we'll make the determination whether or not
Okay.
a condition is either is satisfied or not. Well, the entire team will make that
Okay.
decision. Go ahead.
Would just maybe like to point out that looking at the drawings, the most visible, the only real visibility of the compound would be where the access drive is going to be.
Okay, so I literally was about to, no, you're fine. No problem. So I was literally thinking to myself, guys, they are gonna be surrounded by woods. The property to the north is utility anyway. So we're really only concerned about the front access drive, which will be visible if they're gonna have, you said basically a 30-foot hole there.
Yeah, a 30-foot easement, and then they'll trim back.
Correct, so there'll be a lane that you can look down.
Yeah.
So I would think that, if we could get you to amend your site plan and have the landscape in front of the access road.
Okay.
Does anybody else on the commission? I think that will answer McKenna's question and satisfy that standard at the same time.
Okay.
And generally, to answer your question about attaching it as a condition of approval, generally speaking, we like to see that on the site plan that we are approving at the time of an approval.
So just on the south side.
Correct, yes. So where your access, so on your site plan. Cody was nice enough to get us these bigger drawings, so why don't I use one? I just want to make sure that we're telling you
It is.
it is the south side. All right, thank you, Cody. Yes. So I would say the south side across the entire, 100, is that driveway centered on your 100-foot of
Yeah.
fence? Okay, so I would say, if that's a 30-foot driveway, so that, that 30-foot that you can see down plus 15 feet on each side, you don't have to go the full 100-foot.
Chairman?
Yes.
Is there a specific kind of landscaping, that we're requiring, like pine trees or?
That's a great question, Barb.
And that's what we do it.
Yes, please. Yes, if you have a standard that you guys typically use.
Our standard is 6 foot arborvitae planted.
Arborvitae.
3 foot
Arborvitae.
arborvitae planted
Yep.
3 foot off center.
Okay. That will suffice. I mean, that's an evergreen tree.
Yeah, the deer love those.
They
That'd
do.
be nice.
You may want to consider putting them inside the fence, I guess, because those don't get super big, but. So yeah, so if we could, when you, and anything that we ask you to do, we will get you a list of within, the next 2 or 3 days so that you have those. But when you amend this site plan, if you could have those, rendered in there, in the drawing itself, that would be very helpful. Okay, here. Page 8, down at the very bottom, in the special land use review, the applicant should provide landscape and screening details in order to determine compatibility with the adjacent uses. I think we have just went ahead and covered that.
Mhm.
Page 9 here. Compatibility with the master plan. Does anybody have a question about McKenna's finding there? Their response was, the planning commission should consider whether the installation of a wireless communication tower meets the intent of the township's master plan. He's sampled what our, goals and objectives of the, master plan there is no clear reference to wireless communication towers. Other than, it's a benefit for the public health and safety welfare. So I just wanted to bring that to your guys' attention. When we get into the finding of fact, we will work with the attorney there on finding the language that is appropriate, to either satisfy or unsatisfy that. But Kyle wanted me to bring that up. Just the fact that the master plan doesn't specifically reference anything like that, so. Going down to page 9, number 3, the public services, they were deferring to the Township Fire Authority as it relates to any provisions that may be applicable for their safe access to the site. We've addressed that with a possible condition. Going over to page 10, number 5, at the very bottom of their finding, the applicant is encouraged to review any concerns raised by the neighbors and provided potential mitigation measures to address said concerns. We obviously did not have any public comment here tonight on that, but one thing that always comes up is your construction process. How noisy, how loud, how dirty. It's a dirt road, so I imagine it's going to be dusty. So if you could, I guess, inform the commission on what your construction process is, a synopsis, if you will.
They're going to start with the gravel road. So they're going to go down and start removing trees and brush and trimming. And then they're going to put in the gravel road and the conduit from the road down to the site. And build out the gravel of the site and the foundation of it. And then they're going to start pouring the foundation. So they're going to do the tower foundation and the foundation for the cabinets. That's going to be probably the first 2 weeks of construction. After that happens, the caisson, the foundation for the tower, has to cure. And sometimes that's 2 weeks to 3 weeks or a month, depending on what the soils are like. So then construction stops. Nothing happens during that time. And then they're going to show back up with a big truck with the tower and start stacking the tower and then bringing in the cabinets and things secondary to that. So yes, the tree cutting and the dirt removal and all of that for the first 2 weeks. Well, that's not going to last 2 weeks, but for the first week is probably going to be the most noisy and disturbing part of the whole process. But they work during business hours, so there won't be anything going on after, before 8 o'clock or after 5 p.m.
Okay.
8 to 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not before 8 or after 5.
Do you guys anticipate any Saturday work?
No.
Okay.
The only time that we usually do Saturday work is for antenna mod projects. And sometimes they send the guys out on Saturdays to do that. That's not a really noisy. They go up there and replace antenna, and that's down the line sometime.
Okay. All right. And overall, how long do you think construction of a project like this generally takes?
It's gonna, from beginning to end, it's gonna be like a month and a half.
Okay, so that's
A month and a half or 2 months, but not every day, a month and a half.
Sure. I thought you were going to tell me like 6 or 8 months.
No.
And just actually, and I'm happy Leland was here, he gave you a much better answer. The actual stacking of the tower took a couple days.
Yeah.
It's like
Okay.
the phase 1 ground prep work, and we kind of wait for the tower to get delivered, and then we come out. It's way quicker and easier than building a house.
Yeah.
I would agree. Okay.
I would say too, like that area where they're planning to kind of build measurement to the closest house that's not the one on the property is over 400 feet.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
400 feet.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a question I had.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect.
I remember reading something in our packet about, 1/3 ratio, what does that have to do with, Cody? What is that? Does it have to do with the pole? It said something in one of our packets,
I think it's talking about
The
the land
1.5.
space.
the land
The amount
space.
of land
Yeah,
space that the
1/3.
tower is gonna take up from the whole property.
Oh.
I think it's talking about the ratio.
Oh, I
of
see.
The
Yes.
tower space on the whole parcel. I think it's less than that. I saw it in here too.
Yeah, see,
I
that's
can't
what,
even
100 by
find it
100 is like the total footprint.
It's right there on page,
Yeah, and that's
Page
6.27
10,
acres, that
6.
whole property, so it wouldn't even be a third of it.
Mhm. I didn't understand what that was about.
Okay to move on or?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 6 down there, compatibility with the natural environment. The applicant, may wish to discuss further how their proposal will be compatible with the natural environment. They kind of have touched on that already with the transmission lines that are on the north side of the property. I don't know if I'd call it an industrial use, but it is a similar use.
I was gonna say, how I would describe it, there's
Sure.
monopoles that are being used for utilities.
Sure.
You want a monopole for wireless carriers.
So it is.
I am impressed that most of the trees will remain standing
Mhm.
in the area.
Mhm.
Right.
So you're
Yeah,
putting
I
a
like
tower
that.
that's already decorated, so to speak,
Mhm.
with existing trees, which is, I haven't seen that before. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
sure they're around, but I just haven't seen that in the towers that I've seen around the area. So I'm impressed by that.
A lot of those the trees are pine too, so it's
Okay.
not like, in the summer, all the houses are shaded and can't see anything, and the winter comes, the leaves fall, and all of a sudden,
Yeah.
everyone's staring at it. They're
Yeah.
mostly, from what I remember, pine.
There's a pro and a con to that. Yeah. I can talk about the con.
Yes, you can. Yes, sir. Okay, moving on to the wireless telecommunication standards. This is where there was the most, I guess, questions, both from McKenna and what I think will be from the commission themselves, regarding the information and, that was submitted and the need for maybe some more clarification. And then maybe some updated information that we'll ask for. And again, we'll get you a list of anything that needs to be resubmitted. So in regards to, looks like we're on page 14. And I guess this is kind of, talking about, on their site plan, the planning commission may wish to discuss the need for constructing a building as opposed to the cabinets for the site with the applicant. Can you guys explain to the commission when you're talking about cabinet, we're not telecommunication folks. So when you say cabinets, what do you mean? Do you mean a cabinet?
I mean, literally, it's a big, thicker version of that.
Okay,
So we're not
and-
building an actual building, just.
And it sits on a platform.
Yep.
okay,
Put the concrete foundation, and the platform raises up off the ground, and then the cabinets sit off the ground, and the generator sits up there.
Okay.
That was my next question. The generator.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And what generally is in the cabinets? I mean,
It's all the inner workings.
of the tower itself,
Yeah.
the electronics,
Electronics.
for lack of better.
Okay.
Okay. Is that generally what you guys use?
Everything, below, the Mackinac Bridge, yes.
Okay,
We used to do, 20 years ago, I think we used to do buildings everywhere. And then as technology got better and equipment got smaller, they started figuring out we can put all this stuff in a cabinet, and they were like, why should we be building these buildings everywhere?
You walk in the building, and then there's just a quick.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why we do the cabinets. And everyone does, and it's not just Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T.
That's the industry standard, if you will. Okay, all right.
And the only reason we don't do them up north is because of the snow load on the site.
Okay, all right. And that's located within your fenced-in area too, as well. Okay, all right, perfect. Next item here. Let's see here. Is number 3, information must be submitted showing the facility is in compliance with all applicable FCC regulations regarding the radio frequency emissions. The May 15th response, the second response from McKenna, the applicant has noted that the facility received approval by the FCC on 3/20/26 with the ASR application file number. It's requested that formal documentation be provided by the FCC is provided to ensure that compliance with this provision in the ordinance. The statement provided by the applicant, which may be valid, does not necessarily in itself document the proof that they have been approved by the FCC. You guys,
We have to, if it's been
Yeah.
approved, there's a letter that's.
Okay.
Voted.
and that's all we need. So
We'll go on the website for that.
it is about satisfying the standard. I mean, you guys enclose your application number, but that doesn't mean that the standard can be satisfied unless it's have been approved. Your response did note that you'd been approved, but unless we have the letter, we can't satisfy that standard.
Okay.
So that is something that we'll be looking for on resubmission. Claudia, if you want to notate that for the minutes and then also for the list for them.
Yes. For the condition list.
No, this will be for the resubmission, items for resubmission. So it's the approval letter from the FCC, which they are quite confident they can probably produce if we stay here and talk long enough, to be quite frank. Yeah. Number 4, the next one down, information must be submitted showing the facility will not cause interference with any nearby existing telecommunications facilities. Finding the signal interference information appeared to be more of an informational sheet and not of a compliance letter. The facility is in compliance with the applicable FCC regulations. Further documentation addressing this provision is requested. Claudia, I know that you had the information that you guys submitted on that did seem more like educational and not necessarily specific to this. So if you could just elaborate on that.
You want me to take this one? Okay, so the FCC does review requires that we don't interfere. That's part of our application.
Okay.
So essentially that will be the same document as the.
Okay. All right. So it's essentially like a standard for them.
Yeah.
And that
like
was
a standard for us.
kind of what
Okay.
it was. I was confused by.
Okay,
It was
yep.
more repetitive, but.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
And just further, it's illegal for, because Verizon, AT&T, all those people, I don't know if you've ever heard of the signal auctions or whatever, but they spend billions of dollars buying spectrum from the federal government.
Sure.
And so when you do that, they have to make sure that all of that stuff is not going to.
Okay.
And it's the requirement when they get docked if something happens.
So I would think that standard, that information, once it's provided, can be reviewed, and then that will take care of that, I guess, further documentation on that. Next one is number 5, signage notifying the public of potential high voltage and radio frequency emissions and giving the contact information for the tower owner and operators of equipment on the site must be posted on the exterior fence. The May 15th response was the applicant notes that required identification will be installed and placed at the facility and that no advertising signs will be on display. This provision can be confirmed upon inspection of the site during site construction. So this was brought up, the fencing that we see in your site plan. I did not see where it notated where those signs are going to be placed on there.
They're usually just like right on the front gate. And
Are they?
There should be a contact number for whoever's there. So
Okay.
APC has a contact number with the site number.
Okay.
and then-
We would ask that you notate that on the site plan when you resubmit the site plan, so that standard can be satisfied.
That's the information for contact information.
Yep, correct. Yep. So the specific signs that, warn you of, the high voltage, the what was it? Radio frequency, and then, the contact information. Generally, we like to see those on the gate or in the front, of the driveway, and then, 2 or 3 other places on there.
I don't think I've ever seen a sign that talks about radio frequency emissions on any of our sites.
No, they're there. The FCC has standard signs and they're constantly making up change them.
Okay.
That's kind of why we should say we're going to have the FCC signs here. because
Okay.
Okay.
So whatever sign that you have to put up per their regulations is
Yep.
what we would like to see there, as well as the sign that will have the contact information for the owner of the tower. And we would like that noted on the site plan, the fencing one, where you're gonna have that on there.
Can I ask you what page I'm there? I lost this.
Yep. Page 14, what document are you in?
Where I was writing notes.
Okay, page 14, 5, number 5, right at the bottom.
Okay.
Okay, number 6. We're almost there, guys. Number 6, if a new tower is to be constructed for the facility, it shall meet the following standards. A, the tower must be set back from all property lines by a distance equal to 1.5 times its height. The finding from McKenna, the plan documentation notes that the tower to be 216 feet approximately from the northern property boundary, which is less than 1.5 times the height of the structure required. The structure is being 195 feet tall. The setback shall be no less than 292 feet from all property boundaries. This provision has not been satisfied. So you guys did provide a response, and if you could speak to that response for the commission, how I read that is that, there was an option to make the tower shorter. We would lose one of the co-location spots. And so if you could just talk us through that part of the process. I understand that is.
So what we tried to do is we try to build the towers to close to the same height across topography. So when we look at the towers that are around, the other 5 towers that Verizon on within 2 miles, they're all around the 195-foot mark, which provides for better communication between those towers and better signal propagation across the property or across the area. So that's why we're asking for 195 feet, because Verizon does modules or does simulations and decides that this is the height that's going to be optimum for us to be able to get out our signal, communicate with our other sites, and provide the best service to this area. And so we don't go for 300 when that's not necessary. We don't go for 150 because that's not going to be enough. When we have to lower the height, and it degrades that signal,
Okay.
which means that then we're not optimizing, our service across, or Verizon's not optimizing their service across the area, which means that then when AT&T come along and T-Mobile come along, then they're not optimized either, which means that then you possibly get a request for another tower. Because if we go too low and then T-Mobile comes along and they say, well, you make them build a 160-foot tower, they're at the top of that 160 foot. The most that we can get now is 150 feet. And that's not going to be sufficient for us to get our signal across the area and service our customers. We need another tower over here. And then they can prove lack of service to you guys. It gives them a good argument. So in order to get the best amount of co-locators on site and have one site in an area that's going to service everybody, that's why we're asking for the 195.
Okay.
Does it include the 5-foot lightning?
It's 200 or 199. I'm sorry, I think with the lightning rod. So 195 would be the top of the tower, and then Verizon would put their equipment there.
Will other companies try to piggyback on?
Yes. So that's the idea. That's what AT said. That's their business. They're going to market this tower to any and everybody who wants to come along to get on the tower. So their hope is that Verizon will be at 195, and then T-Mobile will be at 185, and AT&T will come and want to do 175, and whoever else will come and want to do 165. That's what they're going to do. They're going to try to get everybody there.
Just to elaborate, 'cause I think you're probably reading what I wrote.
Yes.
What you're referencing.
Correct. I am.
Kind of piggybacking on what Leland said. So why I'm here today on behalf of APC and not Verizon is because the carriers kind of found that 1, jurisdictions want everybody to kind of work together, and 2, it just makes more practical sense, right? To have more people on one tower than have a bunch of towers everywhere. So that's kind of how the search ring works. Verizon says, all right, we need a tower, we need it at this height, they bring in APC, just because Verizon isn't in the business of managing towers for other people, the APC is. What I was trying to communicate with this
Mhm.
was, shifting the site. As Leland said, he picked the site because of how close it was to the power corridor, right? Like, where's the best spot for it? By the dozen other monopole utility poles.
Sure.
While APC isn't necessarily opposed to just shifting everything a little bit south to maximize the setbacks to all properties, we are concerned about what would happen if we have to reduce the height to the 172 to meet that setback requirement. First off, it's still unclear whether Verizon would even be able to allow that large of a drop in their rad. And then on top of that, it would completely eliminate the co-location potential.
Okay. All right. So in their response, they had indicated, the planning commission using a waiver. And Seth, I'll go ahead and have you weigh in here. There is not a waiver provision attached to the wireless communications. So unfortunately, we can't issue that waiver. So Seth, if you want to go ahead and kind of just briefly, the option for, I guess, both the applicant and then the PC, I think that there are two. We can attach a condition of approval from the ZBA. And then it would go to the ZBA, or we could send it to the ZBA first. And then, then we would get it back to do the approval. Did I explain that correctly?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, some of your other ordinances, they do have a waiver in there. Unfortunately, based on the don't.
So
Go ahead. I thought you looked like you wanted to say something.
I know, I was a little confused by that too, because I think communication tower is buried in one of the solar. And it kind of says, was it windmill? There was one ordinance that said it had it out of place. So I was a little confused by it, but.
So I can tell you that it's not in the standards for wireless telecommunications. It's in solar, battery energy, storage, and I believe gravel, and I believe the wind energy, the wax.
Okay.
Or whatever. So wireless telecommunications is its own entity in our zoning ordinance. Unfortunately, there's no waiver in there.
Right.
So
as you discussed, those would be the options.
So those are the options that we have on that. I would feel more comfortable from the standpoint is we would do the, once the material has been resubmitted that we need, we would do, our finding of fact, approval or denial, and then attach the condition that it, gets approval from the ZBA. And I would think, I'm not the attorney that you are, but I would think that, given the lack of opportunity for the desire to have a tower, I'm sure that you guys tried to find a piece of a parcel somewhere where that would work. So, hardship should not be difficult to establish, I would not think. The only concern I have, I guess, is, and we did not have someone from Consumers Energy here tonight. Do you guys work with them regularly? Is it a big deal that setback can't be met with their high voltage, lines there?
As long as you're outside of their heat, we've built stuff
right next door.
Sometimes it's 100 feet or 50 feet or something, and right outside of it.
Okay, and they generally do not have the complaint or concern.
We planted.
So yeah, that's true. We have
A lot of towers on our land.
Okay, all right.
Do they issue a letter stating that they're okay with it? Do they give you anything like that?
Okay.
That's the.
Just verbal?
Yeah.
Mike, quick question.
Yeah.
It sounds like you might be requesting more information from the applicant before there's a decision. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, correct.
So I don't think anything would stop them from going to the ZBA, contemporaneously to this whole process.
Okay.
I don't know how often or when your ZBA would meet. There's probably not a regular schedule. You probably call them as needed.
Okay.
So, potentially everything could kind of be working.
At the same time.
Yeah.
moving things forward or whatever, which I'm sure the applicant would like. Very much so.
They just need
Okay.
a 15-day notice, for the public hearing.
Okay. Okay, that is something that we can certainly look into then after the fact. But I just want to discuss that as a group. I don't feel like I don't feel like having them resubmit with a shorter tower is the way to go.
Me
No.
either.
I would think that we would rather them have the most benefit that they could.
Have one tower instead of 2 or 3.
Correct, and be able to get the most benefit from that.
Right.
So I would think that rather than have them change their tower to meet that standard, we would attach a condition of approval that, the ZBA approves that variance.
Mhm.
And
everything-
that is something that is done, probably not all the time, but I mean, it is common to have that condition attached at the PC level.
Yeah.
Okay,
And everything to the north is the power lines, really.
correct, yes. And
there's
that is,
nothing-
the setback that is in question.
Yeah, okay.
Correct, Cody? I'm
Yep.
reading that right? Okay,
They have a little bit of spare room on the southern setback. They can move it like 8 foot. But like, you still need a variant on that northern one, so.
no matter what.
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
Okay.
And I guess, as far as the further information that we're requiring, if you could go into a little bit more detailed, explanation of the benefit to to a variance being given as far as, you really don't want to shrink that tower down and why we don't want it, why you don't want to shrink that tower down, go into the specifics of that. That would, make this planning commission feel a lot better about sending that over with that condition of approval. It's basically, to give the ZBA all the information that they're gonna need, cause they'll ask you. So if we could, get that, in a response, and in a response in the sense that, something like what you submitted already is fine, just in a little bit more detail. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Next one is gonna be page 17, D, no signage shall be placed on the tower structure, finding, no reference to signage on the tower, is apparent in the documentation that was submitted for review. The applicant should acknowledge that no signage will be placed on that tower upon completion and operation thereafter. That would be, you're not planning on putting a billboard on this thing, I would assume, correct? Okay. Kevin, you want to ask something? No, okay.
I was just thinking out loud.
Okay, all right, no
Make
problem.
an awesome deer stand up there.
Next down there is F, the base of the tower and all associated equipment must be surrounded by a locked, opaque, screening fence, meeting the standards of the zoning district that the tower is located within. Finding, the applicant has provided the following statement shown in the fence details and notes drawing, number, Z7. Wireless telecommunications facility will be surrounded by a 6-foot tall chain link fence. ABC Towers welcomes additional comments or questions regarding the fence specifications included in the drawings. The proposed chain link fence is not opaque and the provision remains unsatisfied. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's in the middle of the woods, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're probably splitting hairs there. I
Yeah.
mean,
Why wouldn't it be opaque? You can see right through a chain link fence.
correct. That's just it's just what the finding was in the report.
Okay.
I think we might be splitting hairs.
Yeah.
Like the green, like wrap.
So that was, I think that is what the context of that was like. So it's going to be a chain link fence, seeming kind of industrial, I guess, if you will. And that's, neighborhood residential there. Again, it's gonna be surrounded by trees, but you are gonna be able to see down the access road and whatnot. For better screening, what does the team think about having them, submit not a wrap, but, what you had just suggested there?
Little flat thing.
Yeah, maybe we consider doing that just on that same south
That same
side.
side, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
As the,
I feel like
as the evergreens. I know that, putting the evergreens there, it was designed, and it may seem redundant, but I mean, the idea is that, we try and make it look as natural as possible so that, when you're looking down that south side, you're not looking at something that just totally looks out of place for the area. Does the applicant object to that?
I'll be honest with you, I'm still a little confused about landscaping. Leland, are you following that?
Yes.
Okay.
So they're gonna do the 6 foot are 3 feet on center, and then we'll do the slats on the south side, all on the south side.
Yep,
And
correct.
I was just thinking about it more from the standpoint of like, that's our gate to get in. So like, we can't landscape that off.
Oh, yeah. So
Well,
you're
no,
talking about the gate part, he's just talking
No,
about.
no, correct.
On either side, because you said 30 feet on either side.
Correct, yeah, no, you'll always maintain your access point. We can't lock you out with trees. But just as far, so that when you look down there, you have your gate and, it's basically your driveway and your gate is all you're gonna see as far as the chain link, and then you'll have your trees in front and then the slats in the fence.
And then not even all the way across, it was 30 feet on either side of the gate.
Correct. So in this situation, I would think that you would just do the 100-foot with the slats and then the landscaping as previously discussed.
Okay.
And when you resubmit on the site plan with the landscaping, if the fencing detail could reflect the slats in there? Okay. Okay, H, structural analysis, or excuse me, page 18, last page, H, structural analysis signed and sealed by a licensed engineer must be submitted demonstrating that the proposed tower will be able to support all proposed antenna, including co-locations. The response, the applicant provided the following, response regarding this provision. They basically, I'll read it, I guess. APC Towers notes the requirement that is the structural analysis letter to be submitted to the township prior to replacement by any antennas of the wireless telecommunications facility. APC Towers politely request that the township allow the structural analysis letter to be submitted to the township zoning administrator prior to submitting for building permit. Structural analysis letters generally fall under the Michigan Building Code and physical construction regulations. APC Towers will be engineering and engaging a certified engineer to complete the structural analysis letter as part of their building permit process and construction mobilization.
I mean, if we gave you a real world, like, basic explanation for that.
Sure, yes, please.
All right, so structural analysis is a very, very, very specific thing.
Mhm.
And these antenna salesmen are constantly selling the latest and greatest antenna.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, the wireless carriers don't necessarily commit to the exact model, exact order
Mm-hmm.
until right before they go and put it out there. So if we give you a structural analysis letter now, it's probably gonna be a different one than what's given for the building permit.
Okay.
And it's a requirement of the building permit.
Yeah, it's
kind
a
of like
requirement.
every year.
All right, so the issue for the team here lies in the fact that while a structural analysis letter may be a part of the building permit application, as they've just acknowledged it, as suggested, the township zoning ordinance requires this information to be provided as part of the review criteria. So that is a situation where we have the standard that we have to meet in order to give you, an approval or a denial. But that standard has to be met. It's in the zoning ordinance itself. However, the planning commission may make it a condition of approval that such letter be submitted prior to issuance of the building permit. So that is something that the team, do we want to request the further information from them on that? So that it's part of the packet, for the public to review, or are we comfortable adding that as a condition and having the zoning administrator basically?
I did have a question, since we're talking about that structural analysis. I was wondering if that tower is strong enough to hold other companies that want to attach to it?
Yes.
Yeah,
So the structural analysis, it actually puts a percentage of completion based on the equipment, and every time somebody co-loads or the equipment changes or modified, it gets updated, and then there's a new analysis. So
or
yes,
a new analysis.
anytime anyone puts new equipment up there, it will be required as part of the building.
Really?
Yep.
Do they, okay,
Yep.
so just another little question. So do they lease from you guys? Do they, because you have to, the guy that owns the land gets, he's in a lease.
Yes.
So when these other people attach to you, do they have to pay him, or do they share the price with you?
They
Yeah.
co-locate on our tower, so their agreements are with us.
Okay,
Cause they're the owner operator.
Right.
of the tower.
That's what happens is they come to us and they say, we want this elevation at a time. And then it gets reserved for them. And then our next carrier comes and they're like, we want that 190. And we're like, sorry, Verizon's already got it, but you can have the 170 or 160 or whatever.
okay.
The other thing, that I would like to suggest is that, the first thing that we do and what we use to apply for our building permit is what we call tower and foundation design.
Mhm.
That is the design of the tower and the K-bond based on what the soils are. That's built to a standard that, and what they do is they take Verizon's load, because Verizon is probably one of the biggest or the biggest company in wireless and has the most customers. So all of the companies have similar loads. I mean, loads of antenna. They use similar antennas with similar weights and platforms and all the rest of that. So when the tower is designed, it's designed like taking into consider what Verizon normally puts on the tower, and then they multiply that by 4 so that you have structural capability for 4 more co-locators on that tower. So rather than do the specific structural, because the specific structural will then take the tower and foundation designs, but then take the actual load that Verizon puts on the tower, and that would be the specific structure. I don't know if that makes sense, but that would be the specific structural for that tower. I would suggest that we submit to you the tower and foundation design.
Okay, that's what I would like to see.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, and that is, I was looking at you, Seth, thinking to myself, why can't we just have that? And then any deviation from that would be a minor site revision that the zoning administrator could. So I was looking over you going, you know, let's figure this out. Okay, so we would request that you resubmit or submit that information to us as well, to help satisfy that provision in the zoning ordinance itself. That is all the questions that we needed to ask them. Does anybody have, I've got 4 or 5, but I've been talking a lot. So does anybody else have any questions of any kind for the applicant regarding anything? Any question you have? Yes, sir.
I take it when they're originally designing this tower, that they're taking into consideration antenna design, wind drag, weight of individual antennas. Because we call it progress, but supposedly antennas are getting lighter and lighter and lighter. And so I would think that they would design the tower to withstand 80 mile an hour, 110 mile an hour winds at the most.
Yeah.
We do get them occasionally.
I always tell people, but you know, they design towers, I think for an ice sheet or about 3 inches or something like that. And storms, I always tell people that are concerned that towers are going to come up all over or something like that. I'd say by the time that happens, you know, it's going to be
There'll be a bigger problem.
Yeah, it'll be a tornado where there'll be cows and stuff in the sky and everything else.
Will that information be enclosed in that structural
the winch you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the design of the tower.
Yeah,
we're talking
correct.
about, Yeah. it's
Okay.
capability,
All right, and that'll all be enclosed in that. Okay. Kevin, move that. Okay.
But not the antenna.
No, I understand that. But I mean, I agree that the primary concern I feel like is people are concerned about the tower.
Yeah.
Coming apart, blowing over ice, so on and so forth. So it would be, just wanted to confirm that will be in those as well. Any other questions?
I have a random question. When I was looking at the drawings, there's an electric fence on here. Is that already there?
Yes,
Are you taking that down?
yes, for our access, yeah, well,
Is it on? Is it?
I have, I think.
Okay. So it's not yours?
No, it belongs to Gary, Edward, whoever the landowner.
Okay, so he used it for,
I don't know that he uses it at all. I haven't
Okay.
discussed that with him at all. I just assume that it's gonna be taken care of. for our-
okay, so you're taking it down, it won't be
Yeah.
there. Okay, thank you.
We don't want Cody to go out there and touch it.
That's right. Gotta keep Cody safe.
I have a rather off the wall, not too crazy question. So your initial installation for Verizon, 4G, 5G, both,
It'll be fine.
360?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I'm gonna say. I noticed on some of the stuff here, we have a lot of discussion about increasing coverage to the east,
Mhm.
and I'm like, how about to the west? I mean, you're gonna go as far to the west as you are to the east.
Yeah, that's what they're called cells, so they're gonna try to get as much of that circular coverage that they can all the way around.
Now, I
Wherever
live
there's
in
a
no
customer,
man's
They're gonna
land.
be trying to cover.
I'm a Verizon customer that lives in no man's land,
Okay.
to the west.
So,
So,
yeah, they'll try to cover.
Anything else?
No.
Barb, do you have anything that you wanted to add or not?
No, just that I'm gonna probably change from AT&T to Verizon now.
Okay.
That's all.
Wonderful. So I just had one, I guess, concern, about the access road that you guys are gonna use. So you're gonna maintain your access road, obviously, because that's your access road. What I am concerned about is during construction, I assume is when there's that facility is gonna see the most traffic. I am concerned about, even though it's a shorter stretch, but the dirt road that you're using to, gain access to your easement. Do you guys have any plans for, maintaining that while you're under construction with, trucks in and out, a lot of heavy equipment, coming and going?
You're talking about the easement road.
Correct, yes, that provide access to the other residents.
I mean, yeah, they try to maintain it, you're talking about with heavy trucks and things going across.
Correct, yeah, so.
Damage to that road, that'll be repaired. I believe because that road is on the landlord's property, the agreement that we have with the landlord is that damage that's done during construction gets repaired.
That's what I was
Okay.
gonna say, is that because our access easement overlays with that, all of our obligations to the property owner is the same space.
Okay, was that, so I did
And
not,
that
I
would be
mean,
an agreement that.
okay. So I was just gonna ask you if I just need to look a little bit harder. That was a lengthy thing. I mean, I went through and checked the boxes that I knew we needed to.
Yeah.
So, but that is in there, that there
Yeah.
is a damage clause
Yeah.
as far as that goes.
And it
Okay,
should be unredacted. So it's-
okay, all right, perfect. You answered the question about the land division. There is one other kind of big problem, I guess. Your site plans do not have a date on them that I could find.
Just on the scene.
Just on the stamp of when it was stamped. So I don't know how it works at other places, but here, when we do our finding of fact, we will be referencing the site plan itself specifically. Yeah. Maybe you can show it to me.
Stamp is 12/1/25.
Correct,
If
so,
you go right above it, every time we do a revision, another line is added there. So it's
Okay.
actually
But
tracked.
he's saying there's no date. Oh.
12/1 was when.
Yeah, so there's a date there
It's
too.
12/1/25 is when
Yep, any revisions, there will be another.
Okay.
After the.
Okay,
Yep, I see it.
all right,
I blew it up a little bit.
okay.
Sorry.
So one of the reasons that I couldn't find it is because I was working off the laptop, which is no good, and then we didn't have these drawings until today. So we request that when you make your amendments to the site plan, that you make sure that
Revision.
revision date is on there, because we will repost these for public, view. And when we do our finding of fact, we will reference that revision date. So I just want to make sure that is gonna happen.
Yes.
As far as that goes. So at this point, guys, we've requested quite a bit of further information, some of which needs to be amended, some of which they need to get us. I think we're at a point here, where we are thinking that we would like to get all this information in, have a chance to review it, post it for public review, and then do our finding of fact and conditions, at a later date. Would you recommend table, or would you recommend continuation?
Well, so is the public hearing still open? Or did you close it?
We haven't closed it yet.
So if you're gonna leave it open, then you could just continue it to your June meeting, I think you have a June meeting, right, on the 20.
On the 23rd, I think.
23rd, so
Yeah.
you can continue it then. If you close the, and then you have to renotice,
Mhm.
if you close the public hearing, then you don't have to renotice anyway, the public hearing part's closed. So
Okay. So,
because they're submitting new information, continue it to June.
okay. All right. As far as the applicant goes, so we have a meeting June 23rd, which we would, provided that we get all the requested documents from you guys, and they can be posted for public view as well as review of the commissioners. We would be, entertaining the finding of fact and the conditions of approval and, approval or denial at that time. Can you guys meet that deadline, which is the week before, Thursday?
I'm gonna have for a special meeting to get it sooner, so, yeah.
Okay. Well, the other thing is.
The only reason I'm asking is that in your guys' response, I don't think it was in the response, but maybe it was in one of the emails that it was difficult to engage, the engineer to do the.
A week's notice, yeah.
A week's notice, okay.
It'll be by the 18th.
About the 18th,
Thursday.
okay.
Yep, and then with the wanting the variance, the earliest we could possibly do that would be Monday, the 8th. If we got the ZBA to all agree on that date, because that would mean posting it in this Sunday's paper. We have Thursday paper and Sunday paper around here. Thursday paper has to be in by Monday in order for us to post that week. So we've already missed that deadline.
Well, we may have an issue with the ZBA not having enough people. But
I'll
that
know
is,
more, probably by the end of the week.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah.
talk with Karen.
but we can certainly discuss that after the meeting or whatever.
Find an interested person today, actually.
Did we? Okay. But they would have to be appointed at the next board meeting.
Which will be
Well,
July 14th, June 9th.
oh yeah, 9th, yeah, post that'd be the day
Mhm.
before. Okay. So the 10th then would be the earliest.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't think that you would post for a special or for a variance request until you had a full team that was,
Makes sense, yeah.
so you would be looking at 15 days 15 days after that. So basically, the 18th or 19th or
Right.
somewhere along
End of
where
June.
where the PC meeting is.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm trying to communicate to the applicant is you feel confident that you can meet the June 18th deadline to get your documents back to us, at the PC level. And I think that probably there's some work that we need to do on the ZBA level to get you guys a meeting scheduled for that, which is going to be around that same time. You had mentioned a special meeting, not that I'm necessarily opposed to that. But I don't think it's gonna get you,
That much closer.
get you that much closer. And in that situation, if we were gonna have a special meeting for that, we would probably ask the applicant to pay for that special meeting. And it's not gonna get you that much closer, so.
And it sounds like it'd be more appropriate for the ZBA.
Correct, it would be,
That stuff.
it would be. Seth, do you have any?
Well, I think the way your zoning ordinance is still right now, doesn't special land use, does that still get approved by the board? The township board?
Correct, it does.
So,
Yes.
you know, yeah, I think the plan is fine with what they're doing, but no matter when it shakes out, it sounds like, by the time something gets to the board, hopefully they would have a variance decision at that time.
I would certainly hope so, yes.
Yeah.
So I don't, I don't know if there was, did Cody take the time to explain how the process, PC approves, if you need a variance, you get that
I
from
actually
the.
have been, because I was a little confused.
Okay, all right. It is confusing. We're working on taking care of
Yeah,
it.
well,
But believe me, there's just one little sentence there at the bottom of one of those paragraphs that kind of makes it, but, and then the board ultimately in this situation still has the final approval of the special land use application. The PC has the final approval on the site review. It's just kind of worded wonky. Like I said, we're working on rectifying that. But if you had your variance request, July, what was it, 9th was the board meeting?
14th for the board.
The 14th.
14th.
I would think that you should be, buttoned up, we recommend, have a recommendation letter of our findings, whatever that is, and then that goes to the board. However that shakes out. So I guess I'm just kind of letting you guys know where the timeline.
Yeah. and
You've got the look on your face like you need the timeline to go a little bit faster.
I know the answer to this.
Sure.
You pretty much communicated it to me,
Mhm.
but I mean, all of these open items feel like prime condition items. Right,
Mhm.
fencing detail, like they're just minimal. I guess would this board be open to just putting it to a vote these as conditions?
So generally speaking, I would say not, and for this reason and this reason alone. So we've asked for a lot of information that the public hasn't had a chance to review, which is the purpose of a public hearing, is to give the, public a chance to take a look at your entire application, and take a look at it. There, in my judgment call, there is enough relevant information that we're requesting that the public should be afforded the opportunity to take a look at and come back with a comment if they see fit. I know we didn't have any here tonight, so that kind of, you're kind of like, what do you mean? I understand, but I mean, this commission has a very strong stance on the fact that we try and be as transparent as we can when we have applications. So I would certainly not be necessarily in favor of doing that. I mean, I'm more than willing to listen to what the rest of the team has to say there. But I think there's enough stuff that needs to be resubmitted, that we'd like to see it with the documents and an updated site plan date.
I agree.
Barb,
Mm-hmm. I agree.
any objection to that down there?
No.
Okay.
Oh, good plan.
I understand you asking though.
I had to.
Okay.
I'll pay that.
I understand. Do you guys have any questions about the process, what we're looking at here, and anything?
I understand that with it being a variance, obviously there'll be additional standards, additional things that we need to submit. Is the actual application the same though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do we submit a new application to go along with it?
Seth?
I was looking up the statute on wireless communication.
All good. So he was wondering, as far as the application to the ZBA, will they have to have another application or?
To the ZBA?
Yeah, correct.
Well, I mean, you gotta apply to the ZBA.
Yeah.
I mean, they have their own application. I think it's straightforward. though.
I meant it more like literally like, is it the same document?
It is.
It is.
Yep,
Okay.
there's like 4 different things at the top. You can
That's,
highlight.
Okay,
I was
all right,
trying to figure
yeah.
out what the variant, we were trying to figure out like a month or two ago,
Yeah, just highlight the zoning board of appeals section instead of the special land use.
Yeah, so that will be new, a new application in that sense. And then they will get everything that we have and then our findings and everything else. So there shouldn't be a need for like additional information. I think you were kind of wondering about that too, maybe.
Oh, no, I
Or
just meant
not
like,
necessarily, okay.
literally what document do I?
Do you need to,
Give you one before.
It's the same document,
Okay.
I just want to make sure.
All right. Go ahead.
Additionally, so trying to, think through some of the conversations I heard.
Mhm.
So you're renoticing it because we're not tabling it.
No, we are not gonna renotice it, because we're gonna, if we end up doing that, and I'll make a motion here in a second, we don't have to renotice as long as we continue it to a time, date, place certain.
That's what I'm wondering.
But your documents that you're gonna resubmit will go into our packets and then also be placed on our website.
It has nothing to do with
Okay.
going on the website, it has to do with trying to coordinate with the newspapers.
Okay, gotcha. No, there,
Only the ZBA.
Okay.
yep, correct. Any other questions? Okay. We will, Cody, whose information, do we have both of your guys' information? Okay. We will within, 72 hours, probably, I think we'll have the meeting minutes drafted, maybe a little bit longer.
Yeah, let's,
So within the next 3 or 4 days, if you guys have any question about what we're specifically looking to submit or resubmit, please feel free to reach out to Cody. And then, I'm copied on pretty much all that. And if there's any question, but we will get you an official list within, as soon as we get the meeting minutes drafted and stuff. But if you have any questions in the meantime, because I'm sure you're chomping at the bit to get on it, just feel free to reach out to him and then we can coordinate.
All right.
Does anybody else have any other questions? All right, I will make a motion to continue the public hearing to June 23rd here at the Township Hall at 6 p.m.
second.
Kevin seconded?
Yep.
Okay, I motioned.
Yep.
Any discussion on that motion? Okay, and roll call on that, please.
All right, trustee McKay,
Yes.
Commissioner Billitson,
Yes.
Chairman Stein,
Yes.
absent, Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown, yes, Commissioner Artis.
Yeah.
6 yes, motion carries.
Okay, all right. Thank you, gentlemen, for your patience, and your willingness to resubmit the documents that were requested. Again, if you have any questions regarding that, please just reach out to Cody, and then if he can get a hold of me, and we'll get your question answered as quick as we can. All right, thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is our draft language text amendment update. This will be very short. We've gotten Kyle everything that he needs. He feels very confident that we should have everything that we need as far as track changes that we've asked them to review and anything that we've asked them to submit by our June 23rd meeting. Seth, I know you and I talked about a little bit of the review that, we're still kind of just, really sections 13 and 14. That just is really a get with Seth and tidy a few things up. Do you feel like we can get that by the 23rd as well?
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
alrighty. Anybody have any questions about that process? I know this has probably taken a little bit longer than we thought, but we ended up with, I think, a little bit more to do than we thought in the beginning. Even as we went through the last couple of months, I feel like it was getting to be a little bit more. So the goal there would be to have all that in your packets, with the draft language, and then we can discuss that, post that, and then we would be looking at, we don't have a July meeting scheduled, we have an August meeting.
Right.
But that is on primary day. So we may need to move, I think the appropriate thing would probably be to move that. So I would think that at our June 23rd meeting, we would take a look at all the draft stuff, see if anybody has any, see where we're at on that, and then maybe discuss moving that August meeting as a special meeting, or the public hearing for the text amendment.
Yeah.
Would be my plan.
Okay.
And Seth, that sounds like that will work as long as we're not waiting on nearly as much on your end, just sections 13 and 14, really.
Right, yep.
Okay. And then, next item is update on our SLU applications, from last month. Cody, the rezone request?
Got an updated one there.
We got an updated application? Okay. Can
We're
you,
getting the survey within the next couple of days
on the
that property.
On the rezone?
Yeah,
On the rezone?
He's just gonna provide it for us.
okay, perfect.
Yeah, just
Awesome.
remember with rezoning,
Yep.
we gotta we gotta do it by ordinance, and we need to rezone the zoning map.
Yep.
Okay,
So
yep.
you guys did your new zoning ordinance. I'm gonna assume there's a new zoning map, you just gotta keep that together, there's two often you guys forgot about,
Okay,
okay?
yep. I agree. And I remember you saying that the last time we did this. So yes, that'll be a process within itself. That we've only done, I think, one of those in the time that I've been here, maybe two.
Couple of rezones we did. Well, we tried to do Wells.
Correct.
With the marijuana, we did North Avenue.
we didn't.
We did Chris Gordon's property down
Okay.
here.
All right. So we've done a couple, but
In addition to your zoning ordinance standards, there's also a bunch of standards that's case law driven for rezoning,
okay.
so I don't think you have those, I'll have to get them over to you.
I do not.
Yeah, that's important stuff, so.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
And we will probably, because this is we're rezoning to mixed use, correct?
Yes.
We will probably, reach out to our partners at McKenna and just see about getting a zoning report done from them. It's not difficult to do. Cody and I probably could do it ourselves, but, given the fact that this will be the first one under the new zoning ordinance, I think it may be relevant to reach out to them. And then Seth will get us over that stuff. But that basically is a list of standards, kind of like what we do when we review an application. Anything else to add on that, Seth? As far as that goes, okay. And then River Road, have we heard from them or?
Yep, I'm gonna have it by the end of the week.
Okay, all right, perfect. And then
The gas station?
the gas station. So,
Logan's?
No,
no,
Casey.
so Casey,
Casey?
no.
no,
Other one, remember the one that was, it's going where the old gas station used to be?
Across from the Dollar General.
That's Logan.
Logan.
okay, yeah.
Oh,
Right, Logan?
Yeah,
Okay.
It's
correct.
torn down, I don't know about that.
I know, I'm sorry, we do, 'cause
So what's going on with that? That's,
Logan's what
All
do
right,
we?
We
so-
got an application for a new gas station there.
All right, so
we
let's,
have an application.
yeah, so let's start with that. There was a little bit of confusion at the board meeting about that.
Mhm.
The chair got a little excited. Where are we at in that application process?
They've gotten us the application, the site plans.
Okay.
I've gotten the communication from NDOT about the traffic study. Everything they have so far I've gotten.
Okay, but we don't have a completed traffic study yet.
Not yet.
Okay,
Um,
and then also being the fact that that is a brownfield site, do we have the environmentals from, so like, how is that gonna work?
I don't have anything about that.
Okay,
That's one of those things that I expect to see some sort of state document, either stating like, yeah.
Correct.
we developed it. But I also know from everything I've been told, the leaking tank was replaced with a new tank and then it closed down. So it's got a tank that doesn't leak currently and you can develop over brownfield because it's basically just gonna be
hmm
capped.
okay,
It's not as, one of the residents even stated at the board meeting, it's not as contaminated as everyone thought. The neighbor right on the other side, to the north of them didn't have to get a new well or anything like that. Same with the property to the west. So I don't think that,
is there any documentation that we can find from when they were doing the testing and stuff that would, because that will be a concern, and obviously, that's,
And that has.
that started with a question from the board and then a resident weighed in and you had two different very different opinions of that whole thing. And then I weighed in with mine. The point is, what can we do if they're not gonna be required to submit anything? Is there a way, Cody, do you think that we can find the old,
I'm
you know,
trying to
when
track
they,
some stuff down, cause land bank owns it right now, so I'm sure they have some sort of documentation on it.
okay,
But from everything I've heard, wasn't contaminated nearly the extent that the quality permit fleet property was.
sure.
Because this was just oil leaking, whereas that was, old foam and chemicals and stuff like that.
If you want to reach out to them in the sense that that is going to be something that we're going to want to see
Yeah.
somehow, so I mean, if they have an easier time getting it because they are the applicant, let's encourage them to do so. As far as that goes.
Why are they not required to submit that to us? What, that's my question. Why are they not required to submit that information to us within the application?
Oh, for a development of a brownfield site, I mean,
Right,
Think
I mean,
would have-
it's,
right, we would
Yeah,
like
I
to see
mean,
that, right? I mean, I would.
I'm sure there's a line in the site review that probably would qualify as that. I mean, we always have the option to request information, so.
Okay,
I guess that's why we're having this conversation with Cody,
Okay.
to reach out to them, like, we're gonna request that.
right,
So let's try and get a complete application all together at the
Okay.
same time.
okay.
Any questions on that, as far as that goes? Okay, and then Casey's.
Yes.
So last month, we had left that, they're coming up on a year from when they were approved. The board actually approved that at their November meeting last year. The question to Seth is, so in here, you've got the performance guarantee that the special land use, application has to be, you have to, either make substantial progress or have it completed within 12 months. Or you need to come to us and let us know why that, petition us to give you another 6 months. Or, technically we can pull that authorization. Does that start from, the board has the final approval on that aspect of it, the application? Will that start with the November meeting, the board meeting then when they?
Yeah, whenever it's approved.
Okay,
And keep in mind if there's like conditions too, because if the condition's not satisfied, then the special land use permit isn't granted.
okay, all right.
So that could impact.
So that is the next thing that I was gonna touch on. So that had 3 conditions attached to it. Cody, did we ever get the information?
The trees was the last condition, right?
Yep, the trees, the finalized traffic study, and I feel like there was one more.
The well. Then they have didn't they?
So that's the
That's-
issue that's holding them up.
That's the issue that's
Well,
holding them up. I don't know that
Yeah.
that is actually the.
Okay.
Cody, I guess my question is, have we gotten those documents back from them?
Not very enough. It's been a while since I thought these.
Okay. I guess, so let's just do this. I mean, to save us some time. You were gonna reach out to the applicant and let them know that, you're more than halfway into your 12 month. Just letting them know that there is a 12-month timeline on that. You can certainly let them know that they can petition us to, get another 6 months, but, communicate that the clock is ticking on, because I'm sure that they don't realize that as far as that goes.
Did you talk to them?
I haven't talked to them in a while.
In a long time,
Okay.
yep. And then
Okay.
why you're doing that, if we can just confirm those 3 conditions that we have those documents.
Landscape plan specifically showing the trees along the east side of the driveway, right?
Yep, correct.
Or the other ones?
I'm looking right now.
MDOT study.
Oh, yep, traffic
Yep.
study.
Traffic study.
Completed traffic study. Which I've heard is done. The
Okay.
property owner has that, 'cause he's the one that did that. For them, so.
So the site plan showing the trees, the traffic study, and there was one more?
That wasn't the well, was it? Something else.
No, it was something else. So I only have,
Placement of the pumps.
nope,
No ballers that bad.
That wasn't the,
I just have those 2 on here.
Okay.
I think
Is it
that
part of the MDOT study,
Yep.
the
It was the MDOT study and the landscape. plan.
adding a lane or not? Is that part of that MDOT study?
That was part of the MDOT study
Okay.
that needed to be finalized. So the only thing we need is the finalized traffic study and then the updated site plan with the landscape shown.
Okay. And if they do ask, like, you know, what would they do to petition it to get more time? If they do, if I remember right, they applied in October for the variance with the county on the well. And even the property owner has gotten on the county about that, trying to speed that up, because when they want to sell the property, they're not gonna close on it unless they know they can have water on that property. Would something like their application to the county for that, like dated at that time, suffice? Like, you know, our hands are kind of tied.
Yeah, I mean, Seth can answer, but I would think that he's gonna say that we would just need whatever documentation that is their holdup. We would just need whatever that is, you know, their application or, you know, whatever, you know, I mean, if it wasn't the well holding them up, if it was, I can't get the gas pumps or something like that, you know, whatever the issue is that is holding the development up, we would just need to see what that is.
Okay.
Yes, sir?
No, that's additional.
All right, perfect. Any other land use stuff that we need to talk about as far as applications go?
No?
Okay. Okay, all right. As soon as you get them, send them over and then we'll get them sent off to the right places for review and then we'll probably discuss setting those for public hearing, I would imagine, at our June meeting.
Which we have to have by the first, I believe. I didn't know.
Okay.
It's what, the 19th? Or
Mhm.
no, the 20.
23rd. Yep. All right. Wonderful. Okay, next item real quickly, cancellation of the meeting scheduled for May 26th at 6 p.m. So, the chair got confused last month and, totally was thinking that we had a meeting scheduled for today. That's why we chose to set for public hearing. I did not realize that we had actually set it for the day after the Memorial Holiday weekend. And we do that via roll call vote, as you guys remember. So, I'm gonna make the motion that we officially cancel that meeting. Do I have a-
Support.
Okay, any discussion on why we have to do that? There's not enough, there's no reason to keep that meeting. There's not enough time for us to get anything back. We don't have any other pressing business and we technically had that meeting today. So that's my bad, guys. Sorry. I'll pay attention to the calendar a little bit more. Any other comments or concerns on that? All right. Roll call vote on that real quick, Claudia, please.
Okay, Commissioner Billotson,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yeah.
Commissioner Artis.
Yeah.
Trustee McKay.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown, yes. Chairman Stein.
Yes.
Okay, 6 yes, motion carries.
All right. Thank you for that, guys. And my apologies for the confusion. Next item is going to be open public comment time. That can be about anything you want. We'll open that at 8 o'clock. Seeing none, we'll close that at 8 o'clock.
Oh, I was gonna say something.
Well, you get your planning commission member time. Next item is going to be planning commission member time. Barb, do you have anything like that?
Yeah, this isn't really planning. This is about the taxes. I remember the gentleman standing up there saying something about their personal property taxes, but they don't own the property. And personal property taxes aren't collected like they used to be. It used to be furniture, fixtures, and equipment. That was, if you had a business, everything had to be accounted for.
Mhm.
Chairs, rulers, everything. But that's not in place anymore. So what personal property taxes would he pay on that tower?
So I'm pretty sure the personal property tax still is in effect. So they would pay on the equipment, the value of the tower, the equipment itself, because it's fixed to the land.
Okay, even though they're not the property owner.
Correct. That's why they got the address so that they could be assessed. Because of the equipment is going to be there and fixed or whatever.
I see.
I believe we have like 6 towers in Bedford, and there's only one that's actually owned by the utility. All of the others are leased. Similarly to how this one will be acting, and that, they're all personal property.
And I'm assuming that's why they wanted their own parcel number, so that could be assessed separately from the homeowner.
Yep.
Because the homeowner doesn't
Michelle
have to pay
about
that.
that too. But, yeah, I'm a little confused on that. Okay.
Anything else? Miss Claudia,
I have nothing, thank you, sir.
Kevin,
Nope, nothing.
Gene,
I don't have anything other than great job once again.
Tony.
Nothing for Cody.
All right, I have nothing other than my thanks for you guys, for going through that, and, we will have, everything for you guys to look at, that Thursday before. Just, you need to look at everything that we have them, and I will probably enclose the list that we send to them as well, so that you can just quickly cross-reference the changes. With that, I will move to adjourn the meeting at 8:03.